So we covered how to get sounds into the arrangement view and session view. Now we're going to go into some editing techniques that you can use in the clip view right here. I have the ARP that we were using earlier. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to go through a couple of different ways to edit it. First of all, we want to make sure that our segment BPM is set to the BPM of the sample. Thankfully, Cymatics is very good about labeling the BPM of whatever sample they have if it's a loop. So we want to make sure that that is congruent with the quality up here. Right here, we have our this is a multiply by 2 and divide by 2 buttons. These will stretch they will basically double the time or half the time. So if we hit this button, it's going to stretch it out and make the loop sound like this. If we divide by 2, it'll make it sound like this. And this is how it sounds originally. So that's pretty handy to know. Right here is our transpose button. So this will allow us to shift the pitch of the clip. Just like our MIDI clip, we can shift it by octave by holding shift and pressing the down or up arrow key. So you can see it went from 11 to -1. And you can always return it to 0 by just double clicking. Right here we have our detune. So this is just going to shift the pitch a little bit. And right here we have our volume knob. Here we have, and this that'll just shift the volume up and down. Forgot to cover that. Here we have our warp modes. The beats mode is, I mean, you want to use these. I don't really use the tones, textures, or repitch very much. If you use the repitch, the lower you go in tempo. It'll start to change the pitch of the sound, but I mean, I don't really know why you'd want to use that. I normally just stick with Complex or Complex Pro, but Beats Mode is cool because you can do a couple of different things with it. Let's go with let's hit transients, and we'll go right here to the one shot mode, and watch what happens when I drag down this transient bar. You can also set to different time values too, if you want 8 notes. Pretty cool. It's it's a nice little trick, especially if you like put this on vocals or something and set it to like 16th or 32nd notes. It sounds pretty cool. But we'll stick with Complex for now. Over here you can apply grooves, but we aren't going to get too much into that today. And here we can set the length of the loop, how long we want it, or how short we want it, so we can drag it down and shorten it that way. But we're going to keep it at the full length for now. And over here is our envelopes tab. So this is where we can automate the volume and the pitch using the transposition here. So if we wanted to just slowly pitch down, we could just go like this and drag it down. Or drag it up if we wanted to. If you're trying to make a build up or something. And we can also automate the volume. If we just go like this and just drag it all the way down. So those are that's essentially what the clip view does. All the very useful parts, at least. Here are our MIDI clip parameters. These are pretty much the same, are mostly the same at least. If we have, let's say we have our MIDI notes looking like this. and we wanted them to all bleed together. We can press Command A, select all of them, and then press legato. If we wanted to double the loop, we could just hit double like that, and it'll just make the clip longer. But in reality, we just need this one little portion, and we can honestly just hit duplicate and then select both of them and then press Command J and do it that way too if we wanted to. But if you wanted to make the loop twice as long, you could do that. Here we could select them and then shift them up an octave or down an octave by holding shift and using the arrow keys. And just like our audio clips, we can go into our envelopes and automate pretty much any parameter that we'd like to in our in a synthesizer. We could come in here and do automations that way, but it'll be defaulted at pitch bend. So those are a couple of different ways to edit in clip view. I'll see you guys in the next video.